Next, we'll take a look at Ohio's proposed Contraception Begins at Erection Act, a bill that once again shifts reproductive responsibility to one side instead of addressing sex for what it truly is, a shared act with reproductive consequences. Let's dive into that. So when you brought this topic up to my attention, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe that they were actually, putting stuff like this forth on the, the Senate floor, whatever the case would be, to try to put it into legislation. Like, so what are they exactly saying here? Because I know that topic is like jarring and like, what?
So it's actually two states that have two different Democratic politicians. Let's pull up the one for Mississippi, the actual Senate bill first.
Okay.
Let's look at that. So we see Senate Bill 2319. This is for the state of Mississippi, which is similar to what Ohio is doing at the end of the day. But as we see here, this is an act to enact the Contraceptive Begins at Erection Act to define terms to provide that it shall be unlawful for a person, specifically a man,
right?
Not a person, a man,
right?
To discharge genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo, to provide for criminal penalties, to provide certain exceptions, and for related purposes. So as it says clear as day here, the release of genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo will result in thousands of dollars in fines, starting off at, I believe, $5,000, leading all the way up to $10,000 for each subsequent offense.
I just can't wrap my head around this. So, so once again, like we said, it's shifting the responsibility to one side. Mm-hmm. So now, when I read that, I think it's solely up to the man.
Yes.
And he controls it, controls the whole process of reproduction. Mm-hmm. It starts with the man and his erection. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to shoot, your shot, quote unquote, you have to have the intent to recreate, and it has to be
procreate, right?
It has to be the intention to procreate, and which is like absurd to me for so many reasons. Because there is an instance when a man can shoot his shot or his genetic material, as they call it, into a woman and she not get pregnant.
Yes, she
only gets pregnant when she's ovulating, when there's an egg there. Yes. So once again, is shifting responsibility to one side when it's a bipartisan.
It's bipartisan. It's a bipartisan activity.
Right.
Procreation is a bipartisan activity. Now, there's a similar law in Ohio, and the politician, this is basically the lady to the left. I forgot her name specifically, but she's pretty much the politician on the Democratic side up in Ohio that is making this proposition. However, and to play devil's advocate, their reasoning, I believe specifically hers, was that since we have all this legislature to regulate women's reproductive rights, but we don't have anything to regulate men's reproductive rights. So this is her and other the Democratic gentlemen in Mississippi, this is their way to quote unquote regulate males, the male reproductive process. However, how is it that, to your point, we're saying men are responsible for these things, or men basically are responsible for the procreation process, but we also are saying that it's her body, her choice?
Yeah, like how is it
like
her
I'm
body?
confused.
Yeah, it's all my body, my choice. Okay, well and fine. So when is it your body and your choice? Before or after you choose to let him come in you?
And that's basically my point of confusion in this case, because again, if it's her body, her choice, I'm all for that. But to your point, when does that kick in?
Yeah,
because in my mind, if we're operating under the standard of it's her body, her choice, then that choice includes allowing a man that you have no intent to procreate with to have unprotected sex with you. And if you choose to have, if your choice is to have unprotected sex with a man and it results in a pregnancy
while you're ovulating,
right.
Because there's another big factor that, okay, they say the man is always fertile. You know, your genetic material is always,
always ready to go.
Is always ready to go.
Right.
But that's not the case for a woman. Mm-hmm. So she has to be ovulating, and there has to be an egg sitting there, waiting to be fertilized. So do ovulation come on her forehead? Do we see that? Like, how do we know that she's ovulating? Because there is times where you could have sex with a woman, we all know, and she don't get pregnant because
she's not ovulating.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
So do the woman turn blue when she's ovulating? And then there's a clear sign. Do her ears turn inside out? Do her eyes turn purple or something? It's like, how do we know she's ovulating for you put the whole responsibility on us? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So is it safe to say if this law is passed and she allows this man to infiltrate her womb and shoot up the club or whatever the case may be, and then she gets pregnant, is she a co-conspirator? Because it had only she knew that she was ovulating. There's a lot of ways, like there's apps and all types of things in place where a woman can monitor her menstrual and what phase is she at? Is she's discarding the egg, or is the egg sitting there ready and fertile to be fertilized?
For conception to occur, right?
Yeah. See, I mean, watch it. Play the video, because you think I'm joking. Like there's things and tools,
science behind this.
There's tools that women have, right. Because we don't know as the man. So regardless if the man's shooting up the club or not, if she ain't ovulating, there's nothing to start this process with.
There's no embryo to be fertilized.
There's no embryo to be fertilized. And if there are practices and tools for her to monitor and know when, I think, there's another responsibility on the female, my body, my choice. Yeah, your body, you should know your body, know when your body is in the various stages of reproduction. And if you need to act accordingly, per phase that you're in. Your body. Yeah. We don't know where your body is at.
I can't. I'm not a mind reader.
Hey, look at the video.
Great question. Natural Cycles is a fertility tracking and birth control app designed to help you understand your body's natural rhythms. It predicts your fertile and non-fertile days. In fact, it's 93% effective with typical use and 98% effective with perfect use. It's natural and simple, and I've personally found it incredibly easy to integrate into my routine thanks to it pairing with my Oura Ring. The peace of mind it offers is just amazing. Thousands of satisfied users have rated it 5 stars, but see for yourself why Natural Cycles is a popular choice for natural birth control.
You want to know a secret real quick?
What?
There's women who don't know that they ovulate. I've learned that as of late.
Yeah.
There are women who really don't know that they ovulate. There's also women who don't believe that sperm is a seed.
The genetic material.
But they refer to it as sperm, and it's not a seed.
Oh wow! I have no comment on that one.
No,
I'm speechless.
When I saw that clip, I just was just like, Jesus, take the wheel, because there's no way you could tell me that there are adult females walk around this world that don't understand how their body functions,
and you could blame that
with no desire to learn how their body.
You could blame that on the education system, how they took sex education.
There it is, out
of the schools, and these kids are growing up not knowing the fundamentals of their body, so they could make their choice. They're uninformed on how their body actually works, and what happens when you are conceiving or engaging in activities that will lead to procreation and stuff.
So,
like
as an example, when we see women like, oh my God, like this is a miracle baby, this is a blessing from God. It's like, and they really are thinking that because they don't understand it. Like, nah, you just had sex, unprotected sex when you was ovulating, and that's how you got pregnant. It wasn't just some coincidence or
there's some instances, to be fair,
those are the anomalies.
When there's I can understand when they say there's a miracle baby because you've been told that you can't have babies.
Well, we're not talking about that.
Or you've been told you have endometriosis, or
we're talking about the average ones.
Oh, well, they not calling it a miracle.
That's my point. They do call it a miracle because they don't know that. No, you were just having sex when you were ovulating. You know what I'm saying? They don't get that about themselves. They don't get that about. So that's why.
Oh, I hear what you're saying. They don't understand the whole process. So it's like, I was lucky.
Yeah,
my number was picked.
I don't know how I got pregnant.
God chose me this time.
Or if we'll hear a woman say like, "Oh, we only had sex one time." That's all it takes, you know, especially if you ovulated, you know what I mean? But because they just aren't, that's why like now the older I'm getting, the more I'm just being more empathetic for both male and female issues, because I'm starting to understand and learn that a lot of this is just due purely to ignorance of self.
Yeah.
They truly just don't know. Like they really don't.
Yeah, they really don't. They don't, and it is sad. And you know, I beg to argue, like they have the tools to know what's going on and what's not going on. So therefore, if you want to I encourage women to get the app. I think y'all all should get it. You know, especially if you want to do this My Body, My Choice, and you want to be able to have abortions willy-nilly, and y'all feel as though y'all not using abortion as contraception. You should all have this app. And, you know, and if you want to go ahead and, you know, it gives you a little more freedom where you could, you know, let your hair down and kick back and, you know, and get your freak on, you know, without, you know, any consequences or repercussions, you know. And they said it's like 93% accurate, 98%, so 93 to 98. So, you know, good chances that, you know, you won't get pregnant. I'm sure there's always those anomalies, you know, where you do get pregnant, or, you know, you have sex with the condom breaks and things like that. We always going to be exceptions. We understand nothing is everything for everything. But I think women should invest in that tool or something that just makes them aware of the chance that they are taking. And it should be made aware on both sides, you know. So if you know you ovulating, you know, this is the time where you tell him, like, yeah, you might want to strap up. Yeah. Or this is the time you might be like, well, we not having sex this week. Like, don't pull up at his house at 2:00 in the morning when you know when the app done told you.
It's about being more sexually responsible, in my opinion.
That's all it is.
And I don't understand why that would even be an issue that anyone would fight against. And
then on both sides, and then you tell the dude, like, if you got a dude that don't like wearing condoms, which most of us don't, you let him know. You just be like, yo, I'm ovulating, so now you ready to have kids?
Right.
You ready to do this? And the most, I'm good. Well, you know, we're going to, you know, get your head game together. You know, go ahead, give him some head.
Find some other intimate acts to engage in, you know, if you don't want to procreate.
Call a head doctor, go in there, go to town, you know, razzle dazzle, and, you know, to get them through the moment. You know what I mean? You know, in a few days, you know.
Or to scratch her itch, you know, she might need a little action, but
vice versa, reciprocate it, definitely. You know, you know,
we just got to be more responsible though, and that's my question, just to both men and women.
And more discipline.
Yeah, right? It's just like, but again, whenever I hear the sexual discipline discussion being talked in the digital streets or in public, it always seems to your point, it's more so just solely on the man. Yeah, and again, I accept 100% responsibility for a man's action and what happens with his genetic material. You know, I will never say that a man isn't responsible for his genetic material ends up. However, what I do know is that a man who isn't protecting where his genetic material is ending up is already a man that the woman should already know. Well, not should, but is a man that the woman needs to understand that he don't care. So if he don't care about where his genetic material is ending up, then why do you think he about to care about this baby that you want to have? Or that you thinking that you gonna force him to be a father? Right. Because that's, in my opinion, the problem. It's not necessarily that men are quote unquote getting these women pregnant and just leaving them. No, it's like these individuals just having casual sex irresponsibly. She's ending up pregnant because I didn't know. And then it results in this unplanned pregnancy. And then, of course, now the man is just like, well, I was just here to see what you felt like. And he's out of there.
And I get it. I know there's not a lot of space for conversation when you hooking up. You know, you just worried about getting it in. And I trust me, I know I done been there.
You don't want to kill the vibe.
I done had my share of things, but when you start looking at things at the bigger picture, like, you know, you like, especially, you know, with the female, you know, they try to be like, they blame it on the man. Well, he came at me and it's like, oh, I got pregnant. It's like, no, you didn't get pregnant. They act like they walked outside, tripped over a rock, and bam, I'm pregnant. Like, just like if you had a house, say your own home, and you at the door, someone comes with, they got a hammer, they got a gun, they got a crowbar, and they mad, and they coming in and they want to tear your shit up.
Yeah.
And you let them in the house, and then they go gets this. They commence to tearing shit up. Right. And now it's like you sitting there like, why would you just come in and just tear my shit up? Well, you knew what they was gonna do when you seen them at the door and you opened the door and said, come in. Or you wasn't even at the door. You just had your door wide open with no supervision at the door. And you just let someone come on in and they thought it was maybe an abandoned house. And you just let them in, and then now it's like, how could you walk in here and just tear up my shit? Well, there was no one at the door. I didn't know, and it's almost the same way with getting pregnant to a certain degree. Like, if it's my body, my choice, it starts with your choice of letting that person enter.
Yes, you
have to choose the right person to let enter, because if not, you might as well just have have it open doors and let anybody in, and then with whatever the consequences is, that's what the consequences going to be. But there has to be, like I said, like some responsibility at that point of who you let enter. You know, you just can't let, the person that you met at the club Saturday night and you knowing that you ovulating and not having protected sex, and you don't know if he got mental issues, you don't know if he got financial issues, you don't know if he got 6 other baby mamas that live around the corner, you don't know if he got any sexual transmitted diseases.
All you know is you just felt horny.
You just feeling good. You like, he's 6 foot, six pack, 6 figures or whatever, and you just like, fuck it, I'm all in. I'm all in. It's like, come on, it's your body, your choice, so you got to make better choices of who you let in. That's all I'm saying at the end of the day.
That's all we're both saying, bro.